scratch. This is the work will pass out next year. I need more to qualify. So we have lectures also, right this year. Anyway. So, okay. Look guys, while Shiv asked me to put a kind of order to this whole discussion, I am a big fan of it all. So feel free to ask me questions. What I have seen in my career of 22 years, it doesn't look so. But I have been watching for 22 years, which I would want to share with you all. We have divided this discussion into 3 broad sections. The first one is obviously the theme of the day, which is what exactly is the corporate world, or a day in the life of the job is. What can you expect? As you checked it from here, very thoughtfully, what is the typical corporate career path? That is the first section. Second section, which I'm sure a lot of you are much more interested in, is how do we more Google when we go for an interview or when we are to create a candidate, what qualities or we look forward. So I give you a brief sneak peek into the I all this info. The third section is Ask Me for this Ask Me in AFA, which is what we do in Google did often. So some of those leaders, they would just schedule the action grab, they took our role, anybody should go in and ask them.
So cloud division is a new division, by the way, in Google, almost 5 years plus, but one of the most profitable ones, okay, and the one which is growing very fast. There are ads, maps, search, YouTube, obviously Google Cloud. So these are the areas by which we make money. How do we develop skills for our future jobs as a fresher? There was a question, is there an entry for non-tech, people with non-technical background, right? The theme of the day, life in the corporate world. Having spent 22 good years, I have seen a bit of it. And I have also worked across industries, if I may, starting with automobile, Tata Motors, my dream job. I never wanted to quit that, in fact. But then MBA happened, and then I shifted from manufacturing to the world of IT. But within IT is a very broad industry, and that is why it is so exciting. So in IT, I have done roles like from product management, from technical sales to channel development to application security, and now I'm doing something which is very different, which is cloud. And within cloud now, we are pivoting into the latest buzzword. What is the latest in IT right now? Artificial intelligence, right? The buzzword. The second is hiring at Google, and the AMA, Ask Me Anything, right? So let's start with the first part. Typically, this is how we try to put a very stereotypical image of corporate world, right? Monday to Friday you work hard, and then Friday, Saturday you party hard, and then Monday you're back to slavery, right? But that is probably a one-sided view of the corporate life. A lot of you here would want to be entrepreneurs, probably. So let's not demean the corporate life. That's something which gives you your monthly salary, your aspirations, etc. So if you do land up, if you do decide to join an organization, let's respect that with gratitude. Innate nature hota hai crib karne ka, yaar, this sucks, that is so shitty, right? But it is not that. You can do a lot and achieve a lot. There is always a choice. You can exit anytime, or you can start with something else and enter the corporate world later on. However, this latter is difficult. But if you start off, in a regular professional job, from my batch of 81 folks, almost 25% of that population is now, they're working on their own. They're all entrepreneurs, and they all started with a job. Somebody dropped out at 5 years. Somebody dropped out after 12 years. So that option exists, but then they were able to make that choice because they learned a lot in those 5 to 12 years. Okay, and that is the idea for this discussion. So what are the things that you should be doing once you do land up in a job? Instead of corporate world, I took the liberty to change it life in the work environment, because that is the place where you spend the most productive time of your 24 hours, those 8 to 10 to 12 whatever hours, so let's call it work environment. Once you join from here, okay, how many of you have work experience? More than 1 year? 3, 4, 5 people, more than 1 year, right? And 3 months to say 10 months, 12 months, short term, okay? So typically, now that we are here, probably we are looking at a new beginning, right, from here. There are two paths, and this is very important to know right from the beginning. You know, once you join a professional organization, there are two paths to grow. One is a people management path. You know, you join as an individual contributor, as a part of a team, and that is where all that group dynamics, etc., organizational behavior that you learn in this college would come in handy. Then you elevate yourself, you know, as a team leader, as a manager, as a senior manager, or whatever. That's one path where your span of control increases. Okay, typically that is seen as the real growth. That now I'm managing a team of 10 people, I'm managing a team of 50 people. Sundar Pichai is managing the entire Google, right? You become an expert, you become an SME, subject matter expert. You know, you become a domain expert. You are master of a particular thing. So in AI, you would have those, senior people who are not really managing a team, because that's not what they get excited about. They are very, very proficient in the work that they do, right? And that is also a very, very rewarding career path. This is what I wanted to highlight. There are two paths. Make sure that you keep a time check. Once you join the organization, you poll yourself. Okay, if you want to become a people manager or you want to take that route, start thinking and preparing about it. You know, probably after 3 to 4 years. Sometimes you realize this very late, after 8-10 years, that I'm not really managing a team. I do not associate myself in this individual contributor capacity as a career growth. So start thinking about that early on if you want to take that people management path. It's very important. All of this I have just put together in 1 hour's time basis. Now, what is personal branding? I would say by far this is one of the most important things if you want to pursue career growth. How do people perceive you in the organization? It is not how you think you are working hard. It is how your manager thinks and how your peer think about you is what will set you up for success. And this, my friends, is a very, very important thing in the corporate world, and especially for promotions and career growth. What is your perception in the organization? Not how many hours are you working. Again, this sounds very cliche, but trust me, this is one of the most important things that we should be doing. And we should be doing it naturally, not overdoing it as well. How do people view Ravi Upadhaya in Google? You know, not only in Google Cloud, but in Google Ads, in Google Maps, in YouTube team, in search team, Maps team. Am I visible across the organization or not? Tomorrow I want to join Google Ads team, right? I should have some visibility there. This aspect is extremely important, and it starts the moment you land up in the job. It starts there on. So do not be very complacent once you land up a good job. I know people in the last batches, they got placed in good organizations like Nestle, one of my dream companies when I was doing my MBA. A very nice company. You know, I was always in awe with Nestle. The way they did their placement talk, you know, I was just bowled over. Now those guys who have landed there, they have such an immense possibility in front of them. They've all grown very, very well. How do we do this personal branding? What exactly does it mean? Anybody would want to say, those with some experience, why don't I go to them? 3-year experience, koi hai? SDFC Bank. I love that bank. Mera salary account hai usme. So you worked 4 years in SDFC Bank. Which role? Risk Intelligence Officer. Okay. How was the experience 4 years? You did the same profile or did you change profile? No. SDFC ka culture kaisa hai? How is the promotion? It's one of the better banks. I heard it overtook SBI in terms of some capitalization or something. Yeah. Thank you. What's your name? Arnab. As a contributor, now this means you go beyond your regular day job. Initially, it might become a little challenging because whatever task you are given, you are supposed to deliver on that task. But as you grow a couple of years into the job, this becomes important. Are you just sticking to the job description that was given to you, or you are taking initiative to do things beyond that? Are you going out and helping others, do something more? Or are you contributing in terms of ideas, etc.? Again, it all looks very management jargonish stuff, but trust me, you have to keep looking out for such opportunities where you can do things which are beyond your job description. There are courses available on personal branding. I would recommend on Coursera if you go, and these are largely free courses. It starts as simple as improving your LinkedIn profile. How's your LinkedIn profile looking? That is also part of personal branding. That is for the external world. बट विद इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन आपका टीम के साथ इंटरेक्शन कैसा है, बाकी लोगों के साथ इंटरेक्शन कैसा है, मैनेजमेंट के साथ कैसा है, आर यू स्टैंडिंग अप एंड स्पीकिंग, आर यू कम्युनिकेटिंग अ लॉट, all of that goes into the personal branding stuff. The idea is communication becomes extremely important when it comes to personal branding. So don't be reclusive. I will emphasize on this. Don't be reclusive. आप चुपचाप काम मत करो, but be vocal about it. Be very, very communicative. These things will really help you. Riding the wave. What does that mean? Basically, don't get stuck in a particular role or in a particular organization if you are not liking it. There are long timers. The person I was referring to, the one in Unilever who joined Unilever during our placement, he's still with Unilever, 21, 22 years, and he's done very well. You know, he's heading the procurement globally. Okay, so he's done his career growth within that organization. Now, if you land up in something like that, for example, those who are joining Nestle, they can think of a long-term career with Nestle. But even if you land up in, say, Nestle, but you land up in a profile which you don't like, you've been given sales which you don't like, or you've been given supply chain management which you don't identify with, either change the profile within the organization or move on. The other thing, what I mean by riding the wave is, there are, especially in the information technology industry, there are these waves which I just mentioned. Right now the wave is AI, artificial intelligence. There was a wave of cloud computing before that, which is still going on, right? Cloud computing started about 5-6 years ago. Uske pehle there was a wave of virtualization, then there was data center, you know, those waves keep coming. In the manufacturing industry, there is industry 2.0, 3.0, now industry 4.0. Make sure you are skilling yourself with what is happening and what is going to drive the future in the next 3 to 4 years. So I did 3 very different roles, you know, including brand management, product management and channel management. I would say preparing yourself for a bigger role later on, right? Sometimes it is better to join a smaller brand in a better role than be in a not so good role at a better brand. A lot of leaders in Google Cloud right now, they were all working with small time partners or distributors, but they chose to take up maybe a people management role, you know, or a wider spectrum role, and now they are coming back to Google at a very, very good position, you know, globally, Asia Pacific levels. Focus on growth, not on the brand. I had mentioned, right, if you're doing something, you know, make sure people are aware, you're visible, you're communicating. All of that should happen with authenticity. You cannot fake it. In Google, when I'll talk about hiring in Google, this one trait is looked upon at every round of interview. Okay, whatever you're saying, are you authentic or not? And they will ask questions and they'll ask you to narrate experiences to prove it, that whatever you're saying is backed by data or not. And that is the underlying principle of interviewing in Google. Whatever 4 or 5 rounds we do, every question that you answer, you know, it has to be authentic. If you're faking it, they will know it. Raise the flag before someone else does. If you get into a job, you're doing something, you have been given a task, and you see a fire coming up, don't wait for somebody else to tell you that, you know, we have a problem, what are you doing about it? You should be the one to raise the flag. This is what I see coming. What do I do? Or I see this as a possible solution. Don't always be a problem raiser. Try to be part of the solution as well. These things matter a lot once you join a job. You know, I have personally burned my fingers and hands, you know, by trying to solve it all alone. It doesn't work that way in the organization. There is a problem, make it known, make it everybody's problem, not yours alone. Guys, I'll re-emphasize, because early on in your career, in the initial 5 to 7 years, this should be your mantra. If you're getting an opportunity which is giving you growth in terms of, not in terms of financial growth only, but in terms of a job role which is better and richer than what you're doing currently, go for it. You can always come back to those known brands later on. Now, this is a term, again, popular in Google. What is your blast radius? And that is what I was talking about when I said visibility. What is your blast radius? How many people are getting affected by what you're doing? I'll give you an example of this. So in cloud, we are championing the cause of artificial intelligence, right? But AI is something which is influencing everything. AI is now influencing Google ads also, right? So AI powered ads, right? Now, Google has been doing AI stuff for a very long time, but now AI is becoming more and more relevant in across the domains. Last week I was sitting and there's a senior person from ads who came up and she was just going around on our floor, cloud floor, looking for somebody to help her with AI. And she happened to come to me and said, listen, I want to learn something about generative AI. Who can help? And those are the opportunities. Then what we agreed on is, why don't we conduct a session for AI for the entire Google Ads team? And they were so happy with this proposition that, okay, let's schedule a 1.5 hour session for the entire ads team where cloud team will tell them about the applications of AI. Now, this is how you increase your blast radius. Now, all those 25-30 people would know you. Google, by the way, gives you a lot more perspective. I'm really impressed by the way Google promotes innovation, that inclusiveness, the spirit of asking questions. Question everything, fail fast. All those things, they are actually practiced in Google a lot. To answer your question, yes, some organizations will not allow you to be very rigid. I remember when I was in Tata Motors, I kind of took a earth mover, those excavators, and I was playing with it and it started moving and I actually broke a wall. But then I was not fired. They gave me the tolerance of, you've done a mistake, it's okay. Yeah. So, but then there are organizations who would promote questioning, failing fast, innovation. It's a culture in the organization. Now we are moving to Google. Original name of Google. अच्छा, Google किससे बना हुआ है वो तो पता होगा. What does Google stand for? Like, search engine is of course. But where did this name Google got derived? Backrub was the original name. Okay, but very quickly it was changed to Google. और अब now that people would have searched कि Google कहाँ से आया, which is Google, okay, which is 1 followed by how many number? 100 zeros, because Google's vision or the mission statement is organizing words information and making it useful for everyone. So they wanted to represent a very large number depicting a lot of information that we organize. So the name originally was Backrub. So anything and everything which gets onto the web, for example, whatever town you're talking about, suppose that town somewhere in the government records it would be there, right? So in some form or shape it would be digitized in the form of a website or an information on a government portal. Now what Google search engine does, it crawls. It is called crawlers. So how search works is, we have bots which we call crawlers. They'll crawl the internet all the time, and that is how and there's something called indexing again, which is how the search engine works. So it crawls and indexes the information. Okay, indexing helps in reverting with the result very fast. So suppose you put a name of a town in Arunachal Pradesh, it will crawl the web, it will understand it's a place, that is with the help of indexing. It will know it is a place. It will go to that part of the repository where it will search the places, and of course it is backed by those thousands of servers. That is why the results are so fast. But in the backend, it does a lot of crawling of the internet and throws you the result. That is how it works very, very broadly. Hiring at Google, there are largely 4 rounds whenever we hire. Now I'm talking about hiring across Google Ads, Maps. I'm talking about hiring in a way Alphabet. Alphabet has more than more than Google companies. We have something called X, we have something called Research, okay, and then there are other companies. Wings, for example, it's a drone delivery company, Wings. But typically within the Google umbrella, this is how we hire. There are typically 4 rounds. Now these 4 rounds can be further split into, like for example, the second one, RRR, role related responsibility. You can have probably 3 rounds in that, okay, but it will mostly fall under these 4 brackets. The first one is a peer review, but before you get into the peer review round, what happens before that? How do you get shortlisted? First of all, that is the bigger challenge, right? So while it may sound like a myth, but yes, whenever you go to google.com/careers and you see the job profiles there and you put your CV there, it does get scanned. Okay, it is not that we never look at that. Only thing is it gets scanned by a bot. Okay, so we have a bot, an intelligent bot, which will scrape through your CV. It will identify those keywords, whether they are matching with the job description or not. Okay, and it will have his own intelligence, and then there will be a shortlisting done. So from say a 10,000 CVs, it will probably cut it down to maybe 1,000. Okay, so very, very important that you write your CVs very well. Whatever job you are applying for, read that job description very carefully. Make sure that your CV reflects the skills required for that job, because it is going to get scanned by a bot. Okay, no bias, pure machine learning. The second very important way to get shortlisted is through referrals. Okay, and largely I'm talking about job openings in the tech segment, and I'll answer that question about non-tech jobs as well. But we have a huge development center out of Hyderabad, okay, Google campus. Now there we hire a lot of engineers who do cutting edge work on search and YouTube and other things. Their referral works a lot. Everybody would refer their friends from colleges, etc. And so if you get referred by a Googler, it is scanned by a human. It is not scanned by a bot. Then that means that stage is over. Okay, so that's a fast forward way to get referred by a Googler. There was a question about non-technical jobs. Okay, so this part I'm saying, okay, for engineers, for developers, coders, etc. Not to mention campus interviews. Okay, we have those list of campuses where we go and we hire students directly. Now for the non-technical jobs, there are a lot. In fact, I would say, for example, GPay, YouTube, business analyst, ads. We are not really looking for engineers. Okay, Google Ads or Google Maps. There are positions like analysts, researchers. There are so many positions. If you go to google.com/careers, you would see a lot of positions. Make sure you're looking for India positions. Not that you cannot apply for outside, but yeah, typically Indian positions. What I have seen is for non-technical jobs or other than those coding jobs, typically they would ask for some sort of an experience. After that it shifts more from an online application to a referral process. Typically, we do have internship programs, which is also a great way to get in. And for a long time, I would not believe that we would be hiring interns from our website. But recently, I met a few interns in Goa, and all of them, there were 4 interns, and 3 of them just applied online to Google internship program. Okay, and they were hired. So that is another path, internship. They are given an associate position for the first year, and after a successful completion of associateship, they are absorbed as a regular full-time employees. Okay, so there is campus selection, there is internship, there is referral. These are 3 major ways of intake within Google. Okay, now once you are shortlisted, these are the 4 rounds. The first one is peer review, wherein a person in the same job capacity as yours, you are applying for, would have a discussion with you. Okay, all of these rounds are typically 45 minutes to 1 hour. An excellent thing about our interview process is we make you feel very, very comfortable. It is not a stress interview. Okay, they make sure that you are very comfortable. They can spend 10 minutes making sure that you are composed and calm. Okay, I'm part of a Google Champion program, which is basically a hiring program, and the kind of rigorous trainings they give us for hiring is, I was thinking like, why did I even sign up for this? But it is extremely rigorous, that you have to make the candidate very, very composed, because the candidate might be excellent, but because of the anxiety or the stakes are very high, they might not be able to perform to their best ability. So it is important for us to calm them down and then proceed with the interview. During the interviews, the interviewer will keep on taking notes. It's all based on data. Okay, so they will ask you questions, basis your response, they'll keep noting down a lot of things, because every candidate selection, there is a full deck which gets prepared. What did you observe? What did you like? What did the candidate say which was striking, which was in line with Google values? All of those notes are extremely important and they get passed on. Okay, so typically 4 to 5 rounds. If in any round one person writes something which is contradictory, in the sense which is not positive, the chances become very low. Okay, so that is also a pitfall. However, if out of say 5 rounds only one has written something which is negative, a lot of questions get asked with that interviewer also, that why do you think this is negative, because nobody else has written something negative about this candidate, and it might happen that you will be given another chance to do that round again. Okay, so such is the transparency and unbiasedness in the recruitment process. I have seen it myself, very, very objective. So they try to eliminate personal biases a lot. Okay, somebody just didn't like you doesn't mean that they can write negative comments about a candidate. Now after the peer review, there is this role related responsibility or role related skills, okay, which is basically the actual interviews. Peer review is okay, why are you applying, what are your aspirations, why do you think you're fit for the job, tell me something about yourself which we don't already know, being Google, right? So those questions, so you have to come up with innovative and sort of a funny answers. They encourage fun aspect a lot in Google. You don't be drab about it. Be very, very curious and creative. Okay, don't read out the CV in front of those people. CV they have already read. They would have done a lot of research before they called you for an interview. Okay, so don't say which is there in the LinkedIn or in your CV. Say something else which they should be knowing. RRR, so suppose somebody is is applying for Google Ads, Google Ad Manager, then they will get into the details of what do you know about Google Ads, how does it work, what is AI induced advertising. Okay, a lot of it is storytelling. They will give you a situation where you are supposed to answer. Tell me a situation where you are asked to do a particular job. How did you plan it? How did you go about it? What was the result? So then you are telling a story, and this is where authenticity comes in. So you have to prepare a lot of storytelling for Google interviews. While you are telling your story, they will prepare the follow-up questions to confirm what you are saying. So suppose you were given a task, you were given a project, you were leading that project, and you said, it was 100% successful, we achieved the results. Okay, so what was the learning from that exercise? So you will tell some learnings. What if some of those variables, they will change? How would you have reacted if suppose you were instead of 5 people, you were given only 2 people? How would you have accomplished that task? So they will make sure that you're not bluffing. Okay, you know your stuff. So RRR is typically for the job for which you are applying, how well do you know about that stuff? The third one is the general mental ability. Okay, again, these are not individual separate rounds, except for the peer review. All of these are consistent in all the rounds. In each round you will be assessed about RRR, in each round you will be assessed for general mental ability and the googliness. Now this term is very interesting, right? Googliness. Now general mental ability, okay, this is like, I don't know how many of you, if you have given, in our times when we were doing engineering, Infosys used to hire a lot, and Infosys typically would give you puzzles to solve. Okay, so those are typical Shakuntala Devi wala puzzles that you are supposed to solve. In GMA, they give you something like that, not something which you have to solve on pen and paper, but questions which would require you to think out of the box. Okay, I remember my interview time, I mean, the kind of questions they asked, I was like, man, I'm not making it through, right? So, the idea is you to be relaxed. Do not question what your answers. Just go ahead and say it. There's nothing right or wrong there. They want to assess how broad you can think. How crazy can you get, basically. Do you want to know one of the questions that was asked to me, as part of this general mental ability? So there were 4 or 5 such questions, but one of them I remember because it kind of took me off guard. He said, okay, you stay in Gurgaon. I said, yes. Tell me 4 different ways in which we can calculate the cost of wiping the glass facade of the buildings in NCR. Assimilate the question. So NCR, we have so many corporate offices, all made of glass buildings, right? Cyber City, for example. Now, the question was, how can we calculate the cost of wiping those glass? वो जो लटके रहते हैं, साफ कर रहे होते हैं वाइपर से. Tell me 4 different ways by which we can calculate the cost of wiping those office buildings in NCR. Now, this question has a lot of nuances. First of all, how do I know how many buildings in NCR? Right? What is the area of those buildings? Then we'll come to the cost. Right? So questions are very, very atrangi, if you will, okay? And you take time, you tell them, allow me 2-3 minutes to think about it. And then quickly, whatever comes to your mind, just start telling those options, okay? Don't restrict. वो कुछ भी, एक में तो in one of the questions I said, there was a question where they said, okay, how can we clean? Actually, this question was broken into 2 parts. One was, tell me 5 different ways to clean these buildings. तो कुछ तो मैंने 2-3 बताया कि क्लीन तो वैसे ही हो रहा है कॉर्पोरेट there are teams, those facility management team which are anyway cleaning. Said yes, okay, that is one way. 4 others. Then I said something. So finally वो 5th पे अटक ही गया कि you have to tell me one more way. I said यार बारिश हो जाएगी सब साफ हो जाएगा. बोले नहीं, that doesn't count. So it has to be like man-made. हम कैसे clean कर सकते हैं? So imagine the 5th one, because I was not getting any idea and the person insisted that I should, and it was not stress. They were saying, okay, think anything. So then I said, okay, you've kind of refused to accept the rain wala answer, but then there's something called cloud seeding. We can seed the cloud, artificial rain create कराएंगे हम साफ हो जाएगा. And then wow यार ठीक है. So somehow that was accepted. Okay, but the idea is you stretch your imagination. कुछ भी बोलो, because it might be possible. They don't tell you that. Yeah. It is they only give you the questions. You do not typically tell them, okay, tell me the answers also. It is to test your imagination, right? Now, the final one, googliness. Okay, is this making sense, guys, or this is not making sense? Boring लग रहा है थोड़ा सा यार. Yeah, engagement कम हो गया. Anyways. Googliness is something they would assess across all the rounds. There is no fixed definition of googliness. It is what Google stands for. Do you have those traits, attributes, which includes a whole lot of things. It includes, for example, the example that I gave, that I should have actually proactively gone to my ads team and told them, hey guys, this is what has come in AI. Would you want us to conduct a session? That would have been googliness. Okay, it was also googliness. Somebody was searching around and then you're asking, okay, how can we help? And she was in a problem, and then instead of teaching her the AI part, we said, okay, why don't we conduct a session for the entire team? Okay, all of this is googliness. Basically, there is no specific term. It is how you behave, how you conduct yourself, how do you really make an impact on others within the organization and outside, is what googliness is. It also talks about inclusiveness. In Google, at least, we have started using the right pronouns. This is also googliness. Okay, about community service. So yesterday the entire team was out doing community service in some government school. That is also googliness. So they would ethics. Okay, one of the questions in my interview round was based on ethics, and there was severe. They put a lot of kind of beat me down on, okay, this is something which has to be done, but you have to stick to your ground that no, this is not possible, even if it means a loss of revenue. So all of these things, subtly they will judge. They would judge you on googliness. They would not ask questions on googliness. They would judge you on googliness. So these 4 rounds, again, my suggestion or my pro tip here would be, prepare your stories well. Prepare the interesting parts of your life. What you have done other than your graduation, your MBA, what else have you done? Okay. Do you guys do weekend projects? Saturday, Sunday ko, I mean, how's the schedule like? Ye Monday to Friday hai, Monday to Saturday hai? Monday to Saturday? Saturday भी class होती है? No, ma'am. The thing is, so ठीक है यार, Sunday तो है, and then there are holidays, right? And now everything is virtual, right? So you don't need to be physically present, right? Weekend projects, has anybody tried so far weekend projects? अभी तो दुनिया भर का इंटर्नशाला और पता नहीं क्या क्या खुल गया है, and there are so many companies in Gurgaon. You guys can actually team up and pick up certain projects in some of those growing companies. Especially because I'm part of a digital native, I meet a lot of founders and young people who have built companies which are growing very fast. They're all very young people. The Zepto founder I met in Mumbai is all of 19-year-old. Yeah, some $3 billion valuation company. Okay, the senior leadership of Google is going and meeting that fellow, all of 19 years. So these digital natives, they are very, very open. If you go and approach them that, okay, we want to do some project with you, do you have anything for us? It could be a market research, it could be prototyping, a design, or some research. You should do that. If your CV is same like I did graduation, then I did post graduation, then I'm here sitting in front of you, you won't make it. I'm not being negative, but I'm saying you have to do beyond what. Otherwise, what is the difference between your CV and somebody else's CV? Right? So expand, start thinking beyond your regular studies. What kind of exposure, what kind of community service are you doing? And today there are lot many potential than it was. I remember हमारे time में we would emails were there. Of course, I'm talking about 1999 and 2000. But then LinkedIn नहीं था, social media was not that developed, evolved. We would go company to company. I remember me going to Colgate-Palmolive office in Mumbai and saying, can we meet the HR? The HR came after an hour. Madam, do you have a project for us? So after 2-3 rounds, finally we got a project, weekend project. Every Saturday, Sunday we would go spend 4 hours there, do some project and then come back. So basically enhancing the CV and getting some exposure. So look out for things which can add skills to your CV. If you Google skill shop, you will land up on a page. It has all the certifications for Google Ads, for a whole lot of certification, most of which is free. Okay, if not industry projects, at least do these free training certifications. Try and explore Coursera, edX, all of these online education platforms which are free. Not hoard certificates कि मेरे पास 10 certificate आ गए, doesn't make sense. But do the relevant one. What are the sectors which are coming up big time? And this again, because I am privy to some of those digital natives, fast growing companies. As Google, we invest a lot of time, money and effort in Soonicorns, okay, which will become unicorns very soon. So some of these industries which are very prominent are, of course, the AI. The second best is agri-tech. Agri-tech is coming up in a big way. Okay, now these are again digital native companies which are trying to solve the agricultural problem using technology and AI. They are fund starved. They are not very heavily funded, but then some of those companies like Cropin, okay, Google invested in that company. It's an Indian company. So this sector, agri-tech, it is in its infancy. Now this is going to be the next wave after 3-4 years. So stay updated on what is happening in the industry, what is going to be the next wave. I personally work with a lot of agri-tech companies and trying to solve problems which will have a major impact on the lives of the people of this country, the farmers, the consumers, the FPOs, etc. So these are the companies which right now they are struggling, they are in the early stage, but 2 years down the line they would do really, really well. This again looks like jargon right now, but you see what is happening today, right? The heat waves in US and Europe, the rains in India, climate issue is here, already here. I am very keen to do a course in sustainability. There is a course available in Nalanda University. It's a 2-year full-time course on sustainability. But these jobs also would come up a lot in next 5 to 7 years. So do something about sustainability. There is a app called Terra.do. Okay, so some of you who are interested should go. Again, it is started by 3 ex-Make My Trip fellows. All of them are in the US now. They have a lot of courses on climate and sustainability. Some of them are free, a lot of them are charged. So they are a little serious about climate. So most of the courses which are relevant are charged. But try and do something on climate and sustainability. This again, if you're not doing anything else, at least have certain things, certain skills which sets you apart. Health tech, I think, this is anyway going to be okay. So I think this is done. There were certain books which I recommended. I actively encourage all of you to read. This really helps as a conversation starter. In the interview, you can. Okay, when I was doing my BTech, I came across this ad in Times of India, which is something called People for Animals, an organization run by Menka Gandhi. And it was free. You can just join that organization. And we joined it. She would remember, I told this story earlier also. So we joined, me and my roommate, we joined People for Animals. And we were looking out an opportunity, but how can we contribute? So there was nothing, we joined and a certification came. Ravi Upadhaya is part of People for Animals. I said, fine, yeah. So all we did was, there was a kabutar in our room, whom we didn't kind of kill and throw out. हमने बोला यार तू यहीं रह, हम बाहर रहते हैं. That is the only contribution we could do. But in the interview, somehow, see, after 3 years, that person asked me this question, that, okay, I see you are part of People for Animals. So what have you done there and how did you get into this? And obviously, we had to come clean. But then these things can become conversation starters or a differentiator in your CV, especially in the interviews. So try and do when I say Terra.do, it's an app. You can just sign up for some courses, complete those courses, Coursera, Google Ad certification. These are those, again, conversation starters and catchy points. These are all, if you see, biographies. Okay, this is no fiction, nothing. This is about real people. Steve Jobs is like God of all times, right? Greatest of all times, GOAT. Right? But this guy's biography, everybody should read. How do you really shape your thought process? Shoe Dog, again, Steve Jobs was very impressed with Nike. There are quotes where he would say, Apple should evoke the same feeling as Nike evokes. People don't think about, when they think Nike, they don't just think of a shoe. It's an image. Okay, it's an experience that they think about. So both these books are very good. This Phil Knight, the guy that started Nike, amazing story, the way he built that whole Nike empire. And those guys were interested in marketing. Professor Richa is not here, but the way Nike has marketed itself, that whole Michael Jordan ko onboard karne ka idea was phenomenal. Okay, so you can learn a lot of thinking process, it evolves your thinking process. And apna latest Desi Made in India, Milind Soman, a very inspiring book. It's pretty new, but then somebody gifted me this book, in fact, from my office, and people of my age are really impressed with Milind Soman. So I read that book in one go, very, very impressive. While we may think it comes easy for people like Milind Soman's personality, but a lot of hard work. because he initially wanted to become a swimmer, a lot of training, a lot of discipline, and then how does he really go about his life. Very, very interesting read. So try and read some good books. Okay, if you're not, even if you're not a bookworm, some of these books should be good. This is how Apple hires, and I'm very impressed with that quote. Okay, so you be the people who tell your organization what to do, not doing what they tell you to do. AI can affect digital marketing. That skill shop, that keyword that I gave you, if you go there, the second certification is AI infused or AI influenced digital marketing. You should do that. It is definitely going to influence digital marketing in a big way. Okay, how AI would influence digital marketing. AI is going to influence, like I said, almost every aspect of. So I manage some of these customers. All of them, not single one of them, is not asking for a workshop on AI. Okay, for example, कोई भी example पकड़ लो आप, कार देखो. Okay, because we are doing a workshop with them. Now they are saying, Ravi, how can we use? Okay, do you guys know what is generative AI? Because I know people are from a mixed background, but generative AI is something which is general knowledge now. It is nothing to do with tech or BTech or anything, right? Chat GPT, right? Chat GPT, and what about? Yeah. Right. And what is the offering from Meta on Gen AI? It's Llama 2. Okay, so we have Chat GPT 4 is coming up. We have Bard, and we have Llama. Bing Chat, yeah, but okay, it's all based on OpenAI. So, okay, we are very proudly saying that while Google, whatever Bard or generative AI we are bringing, it is our own IP. While Microsoft just bought or invested in OpenAI, and it is becoming a part of Azure or Microsoft. Most of these OpenAI guys are ex-Googlers. Okay. But having said that, Gen AI is changing the landscape very, very fast. Now, some of these areas where they will impact is a lot of mundane routine jobs. So companies are exploring, okay, can we make a chat bot with which you can interact with voice, video, text, everything. So I'm giving some inputs in text, I'm giving some inputs via voice, and I'm giving some inputs via video or images, etc. It's consuming all of those inputs and giving you answers. Okay, so that is one area where Car Dekho wants us to work with them. Okay, now when it comes to digital marketing, okay, this is a very interesting thing that you're asking about, but tell me why, what prompts you to ask this question. Digital marketing के बारे में क्या जानते हो आप? मतलब आप जो बोल रहे हो कि हाउ विल एआई इन्फ्लुएंस डिजिटल मार्केटिंग, तो अभी डिजिटल मार्केटिंग कैसे होती है, ये आपको आइडिया है?
डिजिटल मार्केटिंग बेसिकली यूज्ड फॉर इंट्रोड्यूस आवर प्रोडक्ट और सर्विसेज टू द ऑडियंस. सो इट्स बेसिकली व्हाट. सो डिजिटल मार्केटिंग इज टोटली डिपेंड अपॉन इंटरनेट, ऑनलाइन टेक्नोलॉजी एंड डिवाइसेस.
Right answer, yes. Even now digital marketing is happening through AI only. For a very long time it has been happening through AI. अभी अगर आप जाकर नेट पर गूगल सर्च पर एक ट्रैवल पैकेज सर्च करो, फ्लाइट फ्रॉम दिल्ली टू मुंबई, उसके बाद आप जिस भी पोर्टल पे जाओगे आपको साइड में दिखने लगेगा, मेक माई ट्रिप का ऐड आने लगेगा, ईज माई ट्रिप का ऐड आने लगेगा. ऑल ऑफ दैट इज हैपनिंग थ्रू AI only. So whatever activity you are doing on the web, it gets tracked, which is called clickstream analytics, and then basis that some model or some ad engine, जैसे गूगल का ad engine है, it will understand your intent. तो गूगल सर्च पर सबसे बड़ा जो हमें इनपुट मिलता है वो इंटेंट का मिलता है. आप करना क्या चाहते हो, राइट? यू वांट टू बाय अ नाइकी शू, राइट? आपने लिखा, या मोबाइल फ़ोन, उसके बाद आप जो भी एक्टिविटी करोगे आपको उससे रिलेटेड एड्स दिखने लग जाएंगे, बिकॉज इट कैप्चर्स द इंटेंट, राइट? एंड दैट इज हैपनिंग थ्रू AI. तो देर इज AI इज ऑलरेडी देयर इन डिजिटल मार्केटिंग फॉर अ वेरी लॉन्ग टाइम. नाउ व्हाट इज हैपनिंग इज, instead of plain simple AI, it is now becoming generative AI, which is able to generate content on its own. अभी तक क्या था, they would not generate, they will just throw. You ask something, whatever information is available, they will give you some information. Now they create content. Okay, so you tell them all these poems that they are writing, PPTs that they are making, So they are collating information and creating content for you. That is what generative AI is all about. So, but you do do that course, AI infused digital marketing. That will be helpful. Prompt engineering is going to be one of those greatest career choices in the next couple of years. They are already getting paid $300,000 a year. The people, the professionals who are conversant with prompt engineering. So first of all, we should know what prompt engineering is, and secondly, it's a very, very lucrative career option in the next, like this year, next year. So thanks Akshat for bringing this up. It's a very interesting thing. Okay, so generative AI, there is this big intelligent bot sitting somewhere, and then you're asking that machine to respond, to solve your problems. So prompt engineering is what kind of inputs do you give to that model so that you get the best answer back. Okay, do you know the term called hallucination? Right? Things are getting weird actually with this whole Gen AI thing. At times I also find it scary. But so basically there is this model which is trained on almost the entire data which is available on the internet, and then you are asking them to kind of respond to your questions, which are prompts. Your questions are prompts. Okay, so prompt engineering is how to manipulate the model in the best possible way. Okay, because you throw a generic line, it will give you a generic answer. So how can you fine tune your input or your question, and it becomes very, very relevant in professional settings. For example, if we are developing an info bot for a cardekho.com, the prompts have to be very, very scientific. Okay, so we are essentially talking about a conversational bot where I am speaking, it is responding because it is converting speech to text, understanding the question, and then giving the answer back. My height is 6 foot 5 inch tall. Which car is best suited for me? Right? So it has to understand that, converts the speech to text, then figure out which model will actually be relevant for a person of this height, and then suggest some of the answers. Okay? So while we were developing this particular use case, I remember the prompts, the answers were not coming very, very, in the acceptable limit. So we called in an expert. That expert, what he did was, he initiated that prompt saying that you are a master automobile expert. See, listen to this. I mean, we are telling that machine model, you are a master automobile expert. You have to help. So this is how the story began. It is and it was scary. I said, boss, do we really need to do this? Bola, yes, because now it will just focus on those expert comments, those vetted articles. It will not just go everywhere. So by telling the machine that you have to behave like a master automobile expert, and then followed by parameters, those are called parameters, and then the responses improve drastically. Okay, so I'm not saying this is just a creative thing. This is one of the examples, because I was a little taken aback with this statement itself, that you are a master automobile expert. But then it all helps. Okay, hallucination, can somebody explain? I think Akshat, you know about it probably, but in terms of generative AI, what is hallucination? So we have created a model which is expected to respond to all our questions, है ना? अभी तक तो सब poems लिखवा रहे थे, presentation बनवा रहे थे और ये सब कर रहे थे. But the expectation from Bard or Chat GPT is, if we give an input, there would be an output, right? And that is where hallucination happens. Even if the model doesn't know the answers, it has an obligation to give you an answer, and it might give you wrong answers. Okay, and that is called hallucination. So the idea is, आपने AI लगवा तो लिया अपने यहाँ, Gen AI आपने embed करा लिया organization में, but is it giving the right answers, or is it hallucinating? Now, even if it hallucinates 10% of the time, you cannot really put it in production, right? अभी कार देखो का मॉडल अगर 6 फुट के आदमी को ऑल्टो सजेस्ट करने लग जाएगा तो प्रॉब्लम है, राइट? क्योंकि फिर आपका ब्रांड गोज फॉर अ टॉस कि यार क्या मैं क्या पूछ रहा हूँ, क्या बता रहा है ये, लेट मी गो टू कार्स 24, राइट? सो hallucination is a big problem that we have to solve. So apart from prompt engineering, solving for hallucination and other things, there are so many new terms coming in. They are all becoming very, very important. Anyway, AI was just a part of it. I'm saying this is becoming so embedded that everybody should be aware of it, and I was suggesting it as one of the topics, but then we kept it for a later time.
Sir, as you said that Google has business analyst role. So sir, is there any prerequisite that we should know the whole coding part in a very deeply manner? Because many of our teachers have said that you just need to use that algorithm by changing anything, and you have to know the part of decision making, not the coding part. So sir, is there any prerequisite that we should know the coding part fully 100% as the BTech engineer do it?
For which role you said? Business analyst. Again, business analyst is a very generic term. Like I said, sorry I didn't get your name. Mohit. So Mohit, the job roles vary, right? For example, we have a big role called UX team, which is user experience team. Now in that team we have a lot of designers who are graduates in design. Okay. Now they are not supposed to know code, right? They are not supposed to know code. If they know, it's very good, but then they would have their peers who know coding. So it's always a team which works together. Now when we say business analyst, that is just one of the terms. You could be a design engineer without being an engineer. You are not technically an engineer, but you are a design engineer because you are a graduate in Bachelor of Design, right? So ऐसा कोई hard and fast नहीं है कि that everybody has to know coding. You could be a good front end developer in the coding parlance, or you could just be a design lead or a design engineer by not doing BTech in any of those computer science, but doing a Bachelor of Design, right? So it all depends the role that you are applying. You have to read that requirement of that role. If you fulfill, there is short answer. There is no prerequisite of everybody knowing coding to get a job in Google.
So as we talked about upskilling, we would be glad if you share one of your experience where you found out one for yourself and have you tackled it.
So the question is, where did I upskill myself and how did it help me, right?
Have you recognized it also that you need one?
Okay. Oh, wonderful. But I think her question is, so Indian Air Force was a different decision, but I think sorry I didn't get your name. Priya. So the question from Priya is, any episode where I upskilled myself and how did I recognize that I need upskilling and it is going to help me, right? Okay. So upskilling, again, it is not it doesn't happen in jerks, that one fine day you kind of set aside that after 1 year or 2 years I'll do something. It is when you're aware of what is happening around you, you understand, like I said, Gen AI. Now Gen AI is something, it presents an opportunity to upskill ourselves, right? Everybody would agree with that, at least those who want to be part of tech industry. For me personally, so let me answer this question this way. Right now I am pursuing a course in generative AI. It is not a core part of my job role, okay? But because I know that Gen AI is going to be extremely relevant in all conversations that I am going to do, I am right now pursuing a course. So there are L100, L200, L300 level courses. For us, it is available within Google, of course, free of cost, but then there are courses available outside also. So thankfully, we were on the same topic. So Priya, I am right now upskilling myself for generative AI because there could be an opportunity 1 year down the line where I might get a different role within Google or somewhere else. So here is the opportunity to recognize, because there is so much of buzz all around, and it is not a fake buzz, This is going to make an impact. The kind of impact, the scale of impact might be different, but it is here to stay. Okay, so you have to identify that this is now a tectonic shift हो रहा है. So right now I am studying, reading and doing certifications on Gen AI, and I think it will help me a lot. Right? Does that answer? In the past also, there was a point in time when I realized that cyber security is a very, very important skill area. Now I was with Oracle doing something else, but I was very keen on cyber security, and I read something about it and I did some research. Somehow one of my ex-managers called me from Cisco and said there is a position which is for leading the security solutions for India and SAARC region. Now because I have done that study, I was able to crack that interview, and that was how I got those 3 years in Cisco doing the cyber security role. So sometimes you just do it for your interest's sake, sometimes you do it because it is highly relevant or it is going to be relevant in the future, like prompt engineering.
Sir, I have a question for the Google FinTech Center, which are supposed to establish in the gift city and currently get spotlight, because everyone says that the Google FinTech Center will change the FinTech sector all around the
FinTech
world.
Center, okay. हाँ, so what is the question? Sorry. नहीं आपने FinTech Center Google का बन रहा है गिफ्ट सिटी में. I understand. I was not aware of that. हाँ नहीं फिर.
So my question is that FinTech Center is now on the spotlight for the FinTech sector, and everyone is telling about the establishing FinTech Center in Gift City will change the FinTech sector globally. So what was the perspective behind the FinTech Center, and what kind of business model it has?
Business model, whose business model? Google's or?
Google FinTech Center's business model.
So this was a bouncer and a googly. Okay. Gift City, Gujarat.
But how come fintech is related to Google?
Fintech is just, I think he's referring to GPay. In a way we are part of a fintech industry via GPay, Google Pay, right? So गिफ्ट सिटी के बारे में आज एक न्यूज़ आर्टिकल आया है. व्हाट्स योर नेम? सॉरी. मनीष. अच्छा तुम गुजरात से हो. हाँ सही है. वाह. ओके. सो मनीष, आज एक न्यूज़ आर्टिकल आया है विच हाईलाइट्स, बिकॉज योर क्वेश्चन इज रेलिवेंट, बट इफ आई एम जस्ट ट्राइंग टू बी इंक्विजिटिव हियर. सो हिज क्वेश्चन एवरीबडी अंडरस्टूड, राइट? So there is Gift City in Gujarat where Google is setting up a fintech center, which I was not aware of, pardon my knowledge. But his question is, what is going to be the business model of Google fintech center in Gift City? Right? The answer is no, I don't know the business model of Google fintech center. But Gift City is going to be an enabler on doing a lot of financial transactions or financial innovations. The news article which has come today, Manish, is if you have an office in Gift City, you can trade in international stocks without restrictions. Otherwise, you can deal with Indian stocks freely, but you cannot really trade in global stocks unless and until via certain apps like IndMoney or all those apps which are there. But if you are listed, if you have an office in Gift City, you can directly get enlisted in one of those global stocks. Okay, so these are the business models for Gift City. Am I correct? I think this is what I heard and understood. Fintech is when I was mentioning about the upcoming areas, health tech was one. Fintech is already established actually. Fintech is one of the most, I would say, a large consumer of information technology today. Okay, look at the way UPI is changing and going global. Okay, so UPI is nothing but one of those fintech innovations. Google Pay, we are part of that. We are still not into the wallet. So will we come into wallet space or not? A lot of companies ask that. We do not have any intent to come into the wallet as of now. What is going to be the business model of Google FinTech Center in Gift City? Manish, I'm sorry, I think it is above my pay grade. I cannot answer that question. But anything to do with fintech I can answer, because I have managed some of those fintechs in the past.
I was supposed to say that it will basically playing around the Google Pay specifically for that.
Google Pay, incidentally, that is one of the shining stars of what Google India has achieved and which has a global impact. So GPay was earlier called Tej, right?
Yes.
So, and today Google Pay, the kind of subscribers we have is mind-boggling. It is second to PhonePe. Okay, But this is a success story which gets quoted across the world of what India has done in the tech space. Okay, so thanks for pointing that out.
Sir, do you think generative AI is a threat to Google's main search engine? Because they are producing more relevant results than Google search engine.
So the simple answer is we will integrate generative AI into our search engine. Right? I think, I don't know, have you seen there are certain changes in which the search now gives the answers. So we are already in the process of integrating and we are making it multilingual. We are trying to induce Indic languages. Now you can probably ask questions in Bengali, in Telugu, etc. So we are doing a lot of work on our search engine using Gen AI. So it won't be a threat, it will complement. So the reward for engagement was, I'm going to pick a few students, maybe 3, 4, 5, who will get a campus tour of Google India office, will have lunch with us, have a tour, probably spend a couple of hours, and Shiv, help me understand and pick and choose. We can do it now, we can do it later, but yes, at least Akshat has got a seat. Okay, who else? चलिए सर आपको भी बुला लेते हैं. What's your name? Vicky. Okay. Okay. And who else? किसने सवाल पूछे थे? You want to self-nominate? Let's have Priya here. She asked a very good question. Okay. And of course, the two gentlemen and the lady here, I think you were the ones who were doing this lot of coordination here. So, cordially invited. So, 5 of you. Did I mention this? Yes. So, you were googly, okay, asking questions. My apologies to those probably whom I missed, but then feel free to kind of reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I would be happy to probably do a second round. Okay. Sometimes it is difficult to kind of retain who all asked these questions, but whatever came to my mind, I just used. So Akshat, Vicky, and Priya, and what about you? Ayushi, Mohit. So 5 of you, cordially invited. Mondays and Fridays we have Social Visitors Day, so we will coordinate, and one of those Mondays, or we'll prefer Fridays, right? So we'll have you have a date with Google Office. Thank you so much. Very interesting audience. Look forward to seeing you.